To give you some context on the upcoming coverage, Schooled on Hate is the front page of the New York Post. And Bill Ackman is saying, look, if you're one of the students, I want to know who you are because in the business world, we ain't gonna hire you.
You're not alone in taking issue here.
Even Larry Summers.
Your fellow Harvard economist Jason Furman has spoken out as well. But also we have Bill Ackman, who says it's not enough just to speak out at this point. We should know the names of the students who participated in these statements because future employers should take that into account in their employment. Do you think it should go that far?
I think Bill's getting a bit carried away. This letter was issued 6 hours after the attacks. Many in the groups had no idea that there was going to be a letter. Some who probably signed their groups on didn't fully know what they were signing. Some, I'm sure, were naive and stupid. I don't think this is a time for individual vilification. It's not a time for demonizing Israel, and it's not a time for demonizing students who weren't careful or who were silly in what they did. That's very important to maintaining a community. Bill's entirely right, and I would do the same thing as he does in wanting to make sure that the people I hired weren't people who stood with hate. But asking for lists of names, that's the stuff of Joe McCarthy, not the stuff, not what strong.
Everyone should remember that when Charlottesville happened and people were saying Jews will not replace us, we didn't get this level of analysis on anti-Semitism running rampant when we should have. This didn't happen when Milo Yiannopoulos or many far-right, Richard Spencer was going to college campuses, being a fucking Nazi on college campuses. Where the fuck was Bill Ackman then? You don't give a fuck. None of these motherfuckers give a fuck about actual anti-Semitism. They just want to silence pro-Palestinian protests. That's it. And the thing is, why? The question is, why? What more do you want? This is why I asked the question. What do you want? What do you think? Because there's protests on college campuses that Joe Biden is going to be like fractionally less ultra-Zionist? You think he's going to be like, all right, Jack, 8,000 babies, we're done. One less baby killed? Is that what you think is going to happen? It's all a desperate attempt to say every matter, all matter, every single type of anti-Israel demonstration is actually anti-Semitic. That's it. They can take the long way home to try and reinforce that narrative over and over and over again, but that doesn't change anything. It's blowing my mind. Bro, that's so dumb. You know I didn't say they should be put on slave ships. I want them to be able to protest, not call for the genocide of all Jews. What the f? No one is saying that all Jews should be genocided. It is a made-up thing in the context of pro-Palestine and pro-Palestinian movements. That's the problem. There are plenty of people who do actually call for the genocide of Jews, except when those guys are white nationalists and not actual anti-Zionists, which include a diverse group of students, like Jewish students, as well as non-Jewish students, black students, brown students, students from all different backgrounds. Those guys are the real problem. White nationalists, they're not the real problem. That's why so many motherfuckers, literally, so many motherfuckers straight up say that they have to defend free speech on college campuses, but then go, oh, never mind. Actually, when it's pro-Palestine, we can't defend free speech on college campuses. Bill Ackman straight up called to expel thousands of students for their statements that was identical to the Haaretz editorial board's opinion on October 7th. You can dance around that issue all day and turn around and say, oh, well, what about calling for all genocide of all Jewish people or whatever the you want? That's not the real problem for Bill Ackman. The real problem for Bill Ackman is, and many others, is being openly pro-Palestine because they want to equate it to anti-Semitism. I keep unbanning this guy that Fossabots keeps banning. The question is, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate your university's code of conduct or rules regarding bullying or harassment? Chill, schizo, you're making stuff up. I am going to try and remind people that when congressional hearings like this happen, it has absolutely nothing to do with exactly what the people are saying in the congressional hearings, and has everything to do with a secondary purpose as to why the congressional hearing is held to begin with. ADL is all in supporting and promoting the new witch hunt, which would seek to destroy the lives of Americans who dare criticize Israel, including Jewish Americans. Yeah.
Thank you,
I'll
Ms.
watch
McBath.
this dumbass Congress
Mr.
person.
Good, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Ms. McGill, September 21, a Penn student was taken into custody after bursting into a Jewish organization's morning prayer service, shouting anti-Semitic comments, destructing property, and so forth. On November 10, after the October 7 Hamas attack, Penn issues an apology for a display of light projected onto campus buildings with anti-Israeli messages, including phrases such as, "From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free," and "Zionism is racism." On November 15, the Department of Ed announces that Penn is under investigation for possible civil rights violations of Title VI. And then just 2 days ago, another pro-Palestinian march happened on the edge of campus with Penn property being graffitied with offensive messages such as F the IDF, Intifada, the Arabic word for uprising, and so much and more. There is a deeply troubling tendency by many on the left, as has already been expressed in this hearing, in media, academia, among elected officials, and even some on this committee, who try to somehow conflate or equate anti-Semitism with so-called Islamophobia. It's troubling that it seems that it's only Jews or Israelis who, when they're attacked or victimized, somehow become the oppressors or instigators of those attacks in the eyes of leftists or some on Penn's campus specifically. It's wrong to suggest that anti-Semitism and Islamophobia are equivalent problems in this country.
Yo, is he saying what I think he's saying? He's saying like Islamophobia doesn't matter? Like what? Dude, that's bold to just come out of the gate swinging with that. That's a wild thing to say. That's a wild thing to say.
As noted already in this hearing, Jewish hate crime is the most predominant hate crime in this country today. Ms. McGill specifically. Again, just this past Sunday night, there was another march on the edge of the UPenn campus, an anti-Israeli march. Has there, at any time...
Every part of this is just a conflation that, like, criticisms against Israel are inherently anti-Semitic. That's just all of this. All of this is basically based around the false foundational principle that anti-Zionism is anti-Semitic. And if they don't have to argue on that front and they just take that for granted, they can latch on additional layers of legislation onto it, which is ironic because half the legislation revolves around literally stating the truth that, yes, if you were to go and target Jews for the crimes of the Israeli state, you are very likely engaging in an act of anti-Semitism. Random Jewish people should not be targeted for the crimes of Israel. The issue, of course, is that in order for this to stick, you are literally saying, no. All criticism of Israel is a criticism of all Jews. That's why it's insane. And it's ironic because every single group that he mentioned, every single student activist group that he mentioned is not only led by Jewish students, but also it's comprised of Jewish students in general. So he's literally taking a position that Jews are anti-Semitic for criticizing Israel because Israel represents the interests of Jews, which is an anti-Semitic position. It is anti-Semitic to declare that all Jews represent the nation state of Israel. It is literally akin to saying dual loyalty. It's so insane. Oh, God. Okay.
Since October 7, been an equivalent large-scale gathering of crowds in support of the slaughter of Muslims or the elimination of an Arab or predominantly Muslim state. Has that happened on your campus or anywhere near your campus that you're aware of since October 7?
Wait, what do you mean? One happened in D.C. And also, you don't have to protest for America to slaughter more Muslims. We already do that. If anything, you only protest for America to slaughter less Muslims, and then that usually gets a lot of scorn from this body as well. That's just the standard. Brother, there are gatherings, large gatherings hoping to slaughter more Muslims. It's called the Senate. It's called Congress. You guys get together and talk about how expertly you're going to slaughter more Muslims pretty much every session. What are you talking about?
Congressman, any act of hate, I find
I asked a
abhorrent.
specific question. Has there been any large gathering, in support of the slaughter of Muslims or the elimination of an Arab state on or near your campus that you're aware of?
No, the counter to that is literally, I'm sitting in the fucking room that pound for pound takes Muslim lives willingly and every day discusses it. You rarely ever need to get a gathering to go, let's go America, let's do more fucking violence against Muslims, because it's already happening, whether we say yay or nay. As a matter of fact, many people said, don't do that when we invaded Iraq, and it didn't fucking matter. Sure as shit wasn't important. Also, this is a idiotic comparison, because he's trying to say that, like, that's what the pro-Palestinian protests are. A celebration of the slaughter of Jews in Israel, which of course it is not. But false premise alone and a faulty comparison, regardless of the faulty comparison, would it be okay? Like, are you saying it's all right to have, if there are pro-slaughtering Muslims rallies, then, you know, the other students can get a pro-let's slaughter the Jews rally as a treat? Like, what the fuck are you saying? Stupid.
Since October 7th.
Congressman, not that I'm aware of.
Okay, thank you.
Have been.
So you would agree then that it would be immoral or dishonest to treat the two as equivalent problems on campus, meaning anti-Semitism and Islamophobia, that there's an equivalency there on the scale of the scope of the problem on campus. Would you agree that would be immoral or dishonest to equate the two?
Congressman, I abhor all acts of hate.
Would you agree that it's immoral or dishonest to equate the two, that the problems are equal on your college campus or other college campuses? Any evidence of that effect?
Congressman, I abhor all acts of hate.
Thank you. Dr. Gay, on October 8, nearly 36 Harvard student groups authored a statement holding Israel responsible for the Hamas attack. On October 18, a Jewish Harvard Business School student was surrounded, accosted, and shoved to the ground while walking near and filming an anti-Israeli protest.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit, dog. You know what the fuck happened. That's not even real. That was 100% a student that straight up was trying to, at a time when college students are getting doxxed for being pro-Palestine, he was stepping over mass demonstrators that were silently standing on the ground. Like, they're silently fucking laying on the ground. He was stepping over them, and he was trying to fucking get their faces on camera. And then he was literally guided away from that area in the literal most peaceful way you can do that. Luckily, there's a shit ton of footage over the incident. They lied about it, and then these motherfuckers are still continuing that lie. That's bullshit.
Anti-Israel protest. On November 10, when you condemned the use of the phrase "from river to the sea," over 100 faculty signed a letter criticizing your response to that, criticizing that phrase or condemning the use of that phrase. A Harvard Crimson survey of the class.
Yeah, I wonder why. Let's not analyze that. Why are scholars, some of which are also Jewish scholars, that why are they signing these letters saying that you shouldn't condemn from the river to the sea? I wonder. No. Let's not think about the scholars on this in this instance. Okay, let's think about what a dumbass congressperson, thinks about it. Get the fuck out of here. This is literally anti-intellectualism. Straight up. Yeah, I can't believe your fucking Holocaust scholars are signing off on letters defending Palestinian students. That's nuts. That's actually insane. Like, what the fuck? I mean, Melissa Barrera literally got fired for this. She posted Ross Segal's Jewish Currents piece on how Israel's actions are genocide. Ross Segal is an Israeli genocide scholar. They fired her for posting That article. That's unimaginable. That's nutty.
Class of 2022 showed that 93% of respondents viewed President Trump as unfavorable. 6% of students said they were conservative. 34% of students viewed favorably the Palestinian boycott, divestment, and sanctions, or BDS movement. Currently, Harvard is being investigated by the Department of Education for Title VI violations of civil rights. Title VI, as you know, prohibits recipients of federal funds from discriminating on the basis of race, color, or national origin. A Title VI violation would occur when an institution has allowed, permitted, or created a hostile environment that targets someone based on their race, color, or national origin. We know, of course, that Harvard...
It's so funny because, like, they're literally advocating to shit on anti-Zionist Jewish students while simultaneously saying that they're doing it under the banner of, like, defending Jewish students. That's crazy. That's crazy, dog. You're a bad person. You're a scumbag.
Has a history of dividing people based on race, based on the Supreme Court's decision in Students for Fair Admission versus Harvard. Does Harvard actually teach anti-Semitism in classes?
Thank you, Congressman, for the question. No, we do not. And we condemn anti-Semitism and at Harvard, there is...
Wait, what? What do you mean you don't teach anti-Semitism? Oh, he was saying, like, oh my God, that question was so stupid that I literally didn't even understand it. I thought, like, he meant, like, do you actually teach students about anti-Semitism and how it's bad? Like, that's literally, I didn't even comprehend what he was saying until she responded to it. I thought he literally was saying, like, don't you guys literally teach that anti-Semitism is bad in school? Which is true. That is a thing that you learn. If you go to college, like, you know, there's, like, anti-racism. There's all these different, like, things that there's all these different, like, seminars and shit. And I guess he meant, like, do you educate people on being anti-Semitic? Like, more anti-Semitic?
Is no place for anti-Semitism.
As you know, Harvard received, over the last 4 years, $3.2 billion in federal grants and contracts.
He said, are you teaching your students new methods of being anti-Semitic? I got to see on my anti-Semitism on the test. Yeah, they're teaching, like, slurs and stuff. They got, like, memes, like Yair Netanyahu memes. They post them, like 4chan style. Another congressperson brought up a poll among Harvard students that only 1% of Harvard students identified as conservatives and said it was concerning that Harvard didn't have a diverse political body. He was so close. You should really just watch the highlight reel. They're fucking hilarious. Yeah. I will. I will look into this tomorrow.
During the 2021 school year, Harvard received $104 million through Title IV. Why should Congress continue to invest money in Harvard when Harvard clearly violates Title VI and helps foster a hostile environment for Jewish students?
We are committed at Harvard to ensuring that all of our students thrive, that they...
Also ironic because, like, if there was an anti-Semitism class, like, at least my Jewish friends would fucking ace that shit pretty hard. Nobody knows inside memes better than Jewish people do.
Feel safe and secure.
Well, apparently 100 professors who sent that letter to you criticizing your condemnation of anti-Semitic remarks don't agree with that. And your students, your institution is clearly producing students who...
Yeah, also, the funniest part about this is that I love that he's a Liberty University guy, which, like, ironically is the type of school where they would like have a course on anti-Semitism, like to educate its students on how to be more anti-Semitic. Like, that's pretty funny. That's wild.
Who are sympathetic to a terrorist organization. Don't you think that's a misuse of taxpayer dollars?
Oh my God. Is a conservative bitching about college not being woke enough? Yes, but it will never be framed in that perspective. Just everyone's a liberal, man. I told you. Everyone's a goddamn liberal. Everyone. Imagine going to fucking Liberty University and then having the audacity to fucking be like, to talk about anti-Semitism in college campuses. Like, get the fuck out of here. Oh, anyway.